Aeschylus, Aeschylus in Greek, was the first of the great three Greek tragedians, whose plays are still extant until our time. He was born approximately 525 before the Common Era, and he died in 455 before the Common Era. In the ancient Greek world, in the way that we now make modern top 10 lists, the popular number was 7, a top 7. And for all three of the great ancient tragedians, we have a top 7 list, plays that were collected as outstanding examples of their work. And the 7 plays that we still have extant of Aeschylus start with The Persians. This play was first performed in 472 BCE, which was less than a decade after the Great War with the Persians, ended at the Battle of Salamis, that really settled the fate of the Greek Empire versus the Persian Empire. This play was actually produced by Pericles, the great ruler of classical Athens. The second play is Prometheus Bound, a very interesting play because it still only requires 2 actors. Prometheus and a chorus. Prometheus is on stage, bound the whole time, and he has a series of visitors. Prometheus, of course, is the god who stole fire on behalf of man and was therefore bound to the cliffside and punished by having an eagle that came every night to eat out his liver. We would now say his heart, the organ that the Greeks believed was responsible for an excess of emotion. Of course, the idea that it's the heart is equally ridiculous. We know that emotions are not the product of internal organs now. This is a fascinating play, but we're no longer absolutely sure that Aeschylus wrote it, even though it's been passed down to us because it was believed to be by him. He also wrote 7 Against Thebes, a play about the sons of Oedipus. The Suppliants, a very interesting and odd play about 50 daughters of the same household who all agreed that they would murder their husbands on their wedding nights. They all got married on the same night, and they would murder their husbands on their wedding night as a sort of bizarre loyalty ritual to their father. This has recently been reworked into a modern play by Charles Meade called Big Love that you might find quite fascinating to read. But the most famous of Aeschylus's plays are the 3 plays that combine together to create the Oresteia, that is, the story of Orestes. These 3 plays were first performed in 458 BCE, and they were accompanied by a satyr play whose title we know, Proteus, but the play itself is now lost to us. The 3 plays in the Oresteia are Agamemnon, the play we read for our class, the Coephori, a word that means the libation bearers, the young women who bear cups of wine as ritual sacrifices to the cemeteries. And the final of the 3 plays is called the Eumenides. It means the Furies, the avenging spirits. You can see in the picture here, the picture of Orestes immediately after the moment in which he has stabbed his mother, Clytemnestra, to death, and the Furies that are pursuing him in vengeance for this crime. Aeschylus was a very interesting man. He was known as a marathon warrior. That is, he literally fought at the Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE, where his brother actually died in battle. And a decade later, when the Persians invaded again, he fought again at the Battle of Salamis. Both of these were cases in which a small Greek army marched out against the overwhelming army of the Persians that were facing them and somehow defeated them. And it gave the city of Athens and the peninsula of Greece as a whole a great confidence, a feeling that they were empire creators and that they were specially chosen. This is the way that Aeschylus actually chose to be remembered. His epitaph does not mention the fact that he was a famous playwright, but instead, as it's reproduced here on the slide, speaks of his skill as a warrior. Beneath this stone lies Aeschylus, son of Euphorion the Athenian, who perished in the wheat-bearing land of Gela. Of his noble prowess the grove of Marathon can speak, and the long-haired Persian knows it well. A little poem that he wrote in honor of his skill as a warrior. Aeschylus was known for his theatrical inventions. In fact, he is the playwright who added the second actor. Thespis, of course, was the first actor who stepped out from the chorus, but all older plays before Aeschylus always involved just one actor interacting with the chorus, sometimes going off stage, changing costume, coming back as a different character. But it was a series of scenes in which the chorus gave a choral ode and then one single actor came on and talked to him. But it was Aeschylus who really invented the idea of dialogue. In effect, I think we would say that Aeschylus was the inventor of what we think of as the modern theater. And he also was the first person who really thought about how to make the chorus into a character. In the Suppliants, for instance, the chorus, these daughters who kill their husband, are the protagonist. And in the Eumenides, the chorus is the antagonist, this chorus of avenging furies. Aeschylus lived to be an elderly man, and at the end of his life he was tried for impiety. That is, he allegedly revealed the details of the Eleusinian mysteries in a play. Now, part of his defense, he allegedly ran down onto the stage and crawled up on the altar from which he claimed sanctuary, and argued from there that no one who did not already know the details of the mysteries would know that any of them were included in the play, and that in fact the deep secrets were not being revealed. And of course no one could contradict him, because if they did contradict him, they would reveal those secrets to the public. He was a very clever man, and he was acquitted of the crime. He was the founder of a theatrical dynasty. Both his sons and a nephew became playwrights. And he has what we would think of as the oddest death in history. Allegedly, an eagle had seized a turtle off the ground and had flown up high into the sky and was releasing it down onto a rock in which it would crack the shell and then it could eat the inside of the turtle. But the rock that it saw was actually Aeschylus's bald head on the ground below him, and the turtle fell down, cracked his head open and killed him. Pretty weirdo, huh? So, a quick overview of this fascinating, innovative theatrical figure known for his great commanding plays that explored concepts of justice and governance, and really, in many ways, invented what we now think of as the theater. The tragedy as the Greeks knew it, and the theater as we now conceive of it.